Truly He is the one, He has no father or son.
Alhikmat Dawah Service is now offering a special Dubai and Umrah package in December 2019. A 10-day trip from December 9th to December 19th, 2019. Average cost is $3,000. The group will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawah Services at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
All praises are due to Allahu Allah. All praises are due to Allahu Allah. Allahu 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 Allah. Allahu.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you would like to dedicate copies of one of these publications as Sadaqah Jariyah, continuous blessings for your parents or dear ones who have passed away, or fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, please give us a call so we can place your names on these dedicated publications. You can call us at 954-986-0158, or you can also visit us at www.alhikmat.com.
Allah is the creator of different faces. Allah is the creator of all races. Allahu, 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 Allah.
Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com. Now open Sajida exclusive for all of your Islamic and casual wear. We carry a large selection of silk route and al-karam gowns, scarves, hijabs, hijab pins, and many other accessories. We have exclusive Swarovski gold-filled and sterling silver jewelry. We are located in store 143, Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, located on the opposite side of TNT Chicken Hut. For more info, you can call 328-6682 or 295-5400.
Fens, the single largest specialty retailer of residential and office furniture, consumer electronics, home appliances, and household items in Trinidad and Tobago. At Fens, we offer a large selection of high-quality products, honest and reliable service. We are passionate about serving you, and we're proud of the standard of excellence upheld by our knowledgeable staff, friendly delivery teams, and dedicated customer care associates. Visit Fens First, your friendly furniture, appliance, and electronic dealer since 1960.
With over 20 years of traveling experience, Alhikmat Services is offering exclusive 2019 tours for India and Dubai on October 13th through October 23rd, visiting holy sites, Taj Mahal, and many other historical sites. These groups will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawah Services at 1-800-804-0267 or at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
يا لا يا لا يا لا يا لا 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 يا لا 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 يا لا يا لا 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 يا لا 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 يا لا 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 يا لا لا.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Global Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. It is indeed a pleasure to have with us in Alhikmat studio Mr. Josh Blum.
Thank you, Sheikh.
Do I have that correct?
You do, yes, sir.
Good. And for viewers out there, Mr. Josh is a man who is very well experienced in the financial world, a man with an expert in the financial world. He is presently a home equity retirement specialist. Home equity retirement specialist. And he works with retirement funding solutions. So we are going to talk to him a little bit about that and how his involvement can benefit people and how you getting involved and such will benefit yourselves. So Mr. Josh, welcome to the show again.
Thank you very much.
And, you know, we have viewers all over the world, east, west, north, and south. And as we were talking before we get on the show, internet, social media is worldwide. You can be anywhere in the world and simply click and you get whatever resources you want. So information that you would like to share with our audience would definitely benefit people worldwide. There are people who may not be living in the United States of America, but they got relatives here.
Mm-hmm.
And they will pick the phone up and say, hey, did you know so and so and so and such is available? And, you know, it's this global life that we live has become so small. But it's interesting. We're one big global family.
No, we really are, yeah.
Yeah, we are. So what motivated you to get into finance?
You know, early on, my parents grew up with a lifestyle that was, I guess what you'd call in America, you know, very lower middle class. Both my parents worked hard, their parents worked hard, multiple jobs, and really strove to provide more for both my sister and myself. I have a sister.
Right.
And over the years, I saw how much stress finances put on my parents and on my grandparents on both sides, and I just always wanted to be able to help people with that. You know, financial education, and we were talking about education before too, right? It's just not really well developed here in America. You don't go to school and learn much about finances, and it puts most people at a real disadvantage. I mean, we're just really not set up well. And so I went into financial services
But
because
that's interesting. You don't go and study much about finances, but whatever you study, it's about earning finances. I like that. A lot of times, whatever people study, whatever they get into, it's all about earning,
yes,
having that income, that financial benefit. But you don't really study much about it.
no, and most of us end up really unprepared for most of the major decisions we make in life, whether it's buying a home or figuring out how we're going to afford to start and operate a business, or what I really focus on, which is the retirement planning side of things. We just don't have the education instilled in us at all. And there's just so many misconceptions and so many misunderstandings and no real clarity.
Yeah, and you know, I have come across a lot of people who have a degree in finance. And then I'm looking around and seeing that they themselves don't even know how to make money.
Right?
And they have studied about money. So, you know, this is a very interesting thing. You wonder what's really happening. They study about finance, financial specialists, but many of them really don't really understand. Because I can't see how you're going to help other people make money or save money, and then they have no clue about money.
Right?
That's an interesting thing, but that's something else. We're here to talk about retirement funding solutions, right?
Yes.
And it is all about money anyhow. How you earn, how you benefit from what you earn, and how you can continue enjoying what you have earned. All right? But before we get into that, why is it necessary for someone to get involved in retirement funding solutions?
Well, here in the United States, Sheikh, you run into a situation where most people are totally unprepared for retirement. 75%, 3 out of 4 people are not prepared for retirement because we're living for such a long time. We're living for 20, 25, 30 years. Average retirement age today is 65. And we really do have to plan to live into our 90s, because the last thing you want to do is plan to not live into your 90s, and then you do, and what happens? That's where you hear stories about people eating cat food and really being unable to afford anything. Their prescription medication they can't even afford. And so we have to plan to protect ourselves against that, but most of us are unprepared. And one of the main reasons we're unprepared as a country is because we only plan with a small amount of our wealth. Typical and traditional advice is really simple. Save as much as you can, invest it before you retire, and then draw it down prudently, but it ignores one huge aspect of our wealth. And it's the houses we live in. It's the roofs over our head. It gets ignored. And for most people, it represents almost 70% of their wealth, the house. So you think about it, and isn't it a little crazy if we're going to do this planning, and if most of us are unprepared, we're potentially doing it with only a third or less of our actual wealth? That's where retirement funding solutions and the work we do is so unique and important today.
And for the benefit of our viewers, we want to let our viewers know we're talking about people working, earning, and how they benefit from what they have earned. What age are we looking at? From after what age?
Everything that we focus on at Retirement Funding Solutions are for people at or near retirement, so 62 and up.
Interesting.
Yes.
And 62 and up. So when we speak of retirement, again, a lot of people don't understand how they should enjoy life when they retire. Because I've seen a lot of people retired, but they do not benefit from what they have. And that's why I am so interested in talking to you on this show of Global Issue. They have, and they have some kind of finance somewhere, somehow, but they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to invest it. Or they have invested it and they don't know how to use it. And then they go through this life, as we say, next to nothing, almost like, I don't want to use words like homeless. They are in a home, but they have nothing. They can't buy this, they can't buy that, they can't spend this. And they're just reducing all the benefits and enjoyment in life to nothing.
So true.
It's when they can enjoy what they have. And that's what your retirement funding solution is all about. It speaks for itself. Solution is the solution to funding yourself at the retirement age.
And it's unbelievable. I'll tell you a story, Sheikh. I sat down with a woman recently who was introduced to me by a financial advisor, and he felt that it might benefit her to speak with me. And I just asked her a few questions on the phone before we even met. And I asked her, hey, why are we speaking today? And how do you feel about your retirement? What do you do with your free time? And she said to me, well, I'd love to go out to dinner with my girlfriends, but I can't afford to. And I said, well, can you afford to just not this week, or is it for the next 2 weeks? It's no. I really, even on a monthly basis, can't afford to go out to dinner once with my friends. And it makes you think, right? It really does. It's, wow, what kind of retirement is she living if she can't even afford to have one dinner with her closest friends? And by working with me, we were able to turn that around, and we're able to give her the freedom and the lifestyle that she was hoping for in retirement, so she could have dinner with her girlfriend, so she didn't feel like she had this huge burden and pressure on her shoulders every single month because her fixed income was so low compared to her expenses.
Yes, because living in America is very expensive.
It can be, for sure.
And it's all because you have all the facilities and all the services. You got to pay for it.
Yeah.
You cannot want to have all these facilities and services and not pay for it. So how does this work? And for one of a more colloquial language, and because we have viewers all over the world again, and sometimes they may not understand this retirement thing. It is very straightforward, retirement. But we're talking about people when they get a little old age, they get into their senior stage, and they are now looking, they're not working anymore, so they don't have that big income coming in.
Of course.
And how do they enjoy what they have? So what do we do?
So really what we do is we help people access the equity in their house, right? I mean, if you think about it, our house has a lot of money in it.
Yes.
We just can't get to it. You can't just go to a restaurant or a coffee shop and give them a piece of your house, right?
Yes.
Of course not. You have your credit cards or your bank accounts, and the money that you have there you can spend, but the money in our house is not typically accessible. So what we really do is we just give people a way to access that that's safe and secure and allows them to supplement what they have in their checking and savings accounts. So we're just giving people access to the wealth that's typically and traditionally always been locked into their house.
So how you do that?
Well,
Okay, so a person comes to you and the person says, okay, what's the solution?
It's called a home equity conversion mortgage, what's known as the HECM. Slang-wise, you might hear it called as a reverse mortgage, but a reverse mortgage can be a lot of things. It can be any loan that's growing.
So what's the difference with a reverse mortgage and a retirement funding solution?
So the HECM is what we'd call the new reverse mortgage. It has significant government protections to take care of people and spouses today.
Yeah.
It provides a way for people to be very smart and strategic with how they access the money in their house. It doesn't allow them to draw out too much, so they're never put into a position they shouldn't be put into. And it allows them to draw on that money in a number of different ways, just like you could with your checking and savings account. So it can create an income stream for people. It can be used to reduce expenses for people and pay off debts like existing mortgages and credit cards. It can be used as a savings account that's going to grow and give you more access, tax-free down the road, for money to be used as a lump sum if need be. And so it gives you tremendous power and flexibility and freedom in retirement, much more so than people are typically used to.
Okay, that is very interesting. So what are the steps in getting that done? A person says, hey, I got a house and I owe, the house is worth $400,000. Let's be reasonable, the most, a reasonable price, $350,000.
Right.
Right? Just very simple. The very below middle class kind of thing. What would you consider a $350,000 house? A middle class?
I think here in Florida, absolutely, it's a middle class. If you were out in California, North California, it might be $750,000. But here in Florida, certainly $350,000 is a nice home.
Okay, so we're talking about a middle class. A guy got a house for $350,000. Owes $100,000 on the house. Got to pay a mortgage. Right? Is paying a mortgage of maybe $1,500, whatever.
Right.
I thought $100,000 remains. $250,000 is paid off for. Well, you understand how the maths works. Someone buys a house for $100,000 many years ago. Now it's worth $350,000. We want to be real. Because this is what the person would want to know. The viewer there, the audience, the house is worth $350,000. The person owes the mortgage company $100,000. They come to you and said, how do I benefit from my $250,000 equity?
And it's such a great question, and it's such a realistic scenario, because even if somebody had bought that house 30 years ago, there's a really good likelihood they've refinanced, right?
Yes.
They've used the equity in the house before,
Yes.
but it never really solves the cash flow problem.
Because you're still paying mortgage again.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
You're never. It's a never-ending cycle for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
the first thing you have to look at is the math. If I have a $1,000 mortgage payment, $12,000 a year of principal and interest, and I might have that mortgage for the next 20 years, how much am I really spending to buy a certain amount of equity, right? I'm buying $100,000 of equity, but how much am I spending to purchase it? And if you looked at 20% down today on a 30-year mortgage, with a $100,000 mortgage, you're probably going to be spending about $200,000 in today's interest rate environment to purchase $100,000 of equity in your house, which means we're spending $100,000 on interest.
Right.
And this is all while we might not even be able to enjoy retirement the way we want, or even meet our bills without depleting the rest of our money. So it's a real problem. So the first thing somebody can do is definitely speak with a professional like me. Let's walk through the numbers. Let's see how much you're spending, how much you're going to spend going forward, and if we used a home equity conversion mortgage, what that would look like for you. Because first and foremost, what it should do at almost every age is eliminate your existing mortgage and eliminate the monthly payment you have with that. One of the biggest benefits for people is there is no monthly payment of principal and interest when you do this. You still have to pay your property taxes, Sheikh. You still have to pay your homeowner's insurance. If you have condo or association dues, you still have to pay those, just like you would with a traditional mortgage or no mortgage at all. But eliminating the principal and interest payment for people is a big
oh no, yeah,
deal.
that's fantastic.
Most people don't want to pay a mortgage.
So you pay your property taxes.
Correct.
And you pay your home owners association, whatever you call it, right? All right, so but what are the steps? What goes on? How does the person get this? The person, as I said, the person comes to you, $350,000 house, owes $100,000 mortgage. What are the steps? What are the requirements? What are the pros and cons?
Right. So steps and requirements, you absolutely have to be 62 and up. You have to own your home as your principal residence. It's got to be where you live.
So it's your own property. You got to live there, and you got to be over 62.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have to have a job?
You do need to have income, right? So you need to be able to show that you can pay your bills, your mandatory obligations, things like credit cards or car installment loans, or even if you still have student loan debt, which a lot of people do going into retirement today, you have to be able to show that you can afford to pay those, and then you need residual income. You need a little bit left over. And that's really because it's a government insured program, they don't want you to, it's government insured by the FHA, so they want to make sure.
So government.
It is.
Okay,
it is.
okay.
But this is not unique to the United States either, Sheikh. I think this is really important. A lot of countries have something similar to this. So you look at Canada, Australia, Japan, China's creating one. It's in the UK. So many countries today have something similar to this. And almost all of them are government insured.
So how is this different to a bank mortgage on your property?
Without a doubt, the biggest difference is a traditional lending institution is going to say, Sheikh, every single month you're going to pay us this much. Let's call it $1,000. And every single month you're going to pay us this much. And what happens if you don't? What happens?
They take it.
Yeah, you're going to lose the home, right?
All right. So this case now, the person has a job, has an income, or got to show that they can pay. But what do they have to pay?
They have to show that they can pay their property taxes, their insurance, their association dues. They have to show that they can pay.
That's all they got to show.
In addition to any other revolving debts
expenses
they might have. Yeah, their general living expenses.
Because that's my question. I wanted to know if they're not going to have to pay a mortgage.
Right.
And they're not going to pay this and that, and what do they need to show that income for? So it's for the property taxes.
Correct. It's to make sure, because there's 3 covenants that you agree to if you're going to do this. If you're a homeowner, you agree that I'm going to stay in this house, I'm going to live here. It's my home and I intend to stay here. You're going to pay your property taxes and your insurance, and you're going to maintain the house. You're going to keep the house in the same condition as it is today. If you do those 3 things, what a home equity conversion mortgage does for you, a HECM, ensures that you do not have a monthly payment. You only have one payment, and it's when you leave the house. For a lot of people, that's when they pass away. So this allows people to age in place, but we want to make sure you have an income. Why?
And what is that payment they got to pay?
Well, it's whatever the loan is for, plus whatever interest has grown between today and when they leave the house. Because it's still a loan, and you're still being lent money. And anytime you're lent money, there's an interest rate attached to it, right?
So who pays that interest in that pays that mortgage for the 10 years?
This is the wonderful thing. The house is what guarantees this mortgage. It's not you. You're not guaranteeing this mortgage like you would a traditional mortgage. The house does. So the house is always guaranteed to be able to pay off this loan.
So that one payment that is due when the person passes away, where does that payment come from? The house?
It could come from a number of places.
The company, your company, where do they take that money from?
So it could come from the house. If you have children or beneficiaries, they could choose to pay off the loan balance.
Okay, beautiful. And if they don't pay it off, your company, what do? They sell the property?
We're going to ask the beneficiaries to sell the property, which they would want to do,
right,
if it's worth more than the loan balance.
Oh.
Right? So if our house is worth $350,000 and our loan balance is only $100,000, as a beneficiary, you're going to want to sell that house.
Right. So they sell the house, and or do you sell the house for them, or they give you okay to sell it?
So that's one of the major myths as a lender. You never take title to the home, right? It's always your house as a borrower, just like a traditional mortgage. Nobody's taking title from you. It is your home. So you have full control, or your estate has full control. There might be instances where the loan is worth more than the house is worth, in which case, as a beneficiary, you would offer what's called a deed in lieu of foreclosure. You'd hand the keys over to the lender and say, you take care of it.
And the lender is you.
And the lender would be Retirement Funding Solutions, as an example. Correct.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about this, the reason it's a government insured product is not just to protect the lenders, it's to protect clients as well. Your house, like I said, it's always guaranteed to pay the loan.
It is, because the house is $350,000. You got $250,000 in equity, $100,000 that is owed. Now you live 10 years, whatever becomes the situation. The property of that house, the equity goes up again.
It should grow, yes.
In that 10 years, it should now be maybe $450,000. So the house is sold, and whatever happens to be the interest and the $100,000, let's say it's what? $150,000.
Sure.
So the property is sold. The owners of the home, the beneficiaries, they still get back something.
There should be
money.
proceeds there, and that's how this is designed. Now, it might not be the case. You might do something like this, and you might live for 25, 30, 35, 40 years, right? People are living into their 90s and 100s. In that case, you might reach a point where the loan balance is higher. It's more than the house is worth.
Let's assume that.
So let's talk about that scenario.
So what happens if the home is what you owe is more than what the house is worth? What happens there?
Well, that's the wonderful thing. So let's say you did this, and Sheikh, I'm sorry, you passed away. My condolences.
Yeah.
You passed away. The loan is worth more than the house is worth. As a beneficiary, you're not responsible for anything more than the house is worth. So if the house is worth $450,000 at that point, but the loan is $600,000, the house will still satisfy the loan. That's what you pay insurance for with this. You pay insurance, and people always say, well, these are very expensive, and the reason they're expensive is you have to pay for insurance, but that insurance protects you. And what it does is it takes that difference, and anybody who does this pays into a fund. This is not a taxpayer program. We're not paying taxes into this, right? Anybody who does it pays into a fund. They pay insurance costs into a fund, and that fund would cover the difference, and it would pay the difference to the lender. So if there was $150,000 underwater, the house would satisfy everything except the $150,000. The rest would come from the insurance fund.
So the insurance company covers that sort of retirement funding solution mechanism, whatever. The insurance got to have that policy written that's one of the areas it covers.
Correct.
Death, and it pays off.
Yes. And so
because not all insurances may have that.
No. It's a very unique insurance fund here in America. It's called the Mutual Mortgage Insurance Fund. It is specifically for FHA loans. And so in a traditional FHA loan, where we put only a very little bit down when we buy a house, most first-time home buyers might do something like this. You're paying a little bit every month into that. With the home equity conversion mortgage, the HECM, you pay 2% of the home value up front, right off the bat.
Right.
And then you pay an ongoing 0.5% annually. Off the loan balance. And that fund that everybody's paying into, that insurance fund is there to protect the lenders and the clients and their beneficiaries, the borrowers.
So your company, Retirement Funding Solution, needs to see all those things in place.
Yes, absolutely.
And then what really happens? Your retirement funding solutions buy that property?
No, but by no means.
During this period of time, this 5, 10 years, 15 years that the person lives, what did your company do? Did it buy it? Did it get the deed transferred to your name? What really goes on? I'm asking these questions so the viewers will understand what happens.
Right. It's just like a traditional mortgage. There's a note, there's a debt on the home, and that debt has to be paid at some point. It has to be paid on the due date.
But the person doesn't have to pay that.
That's correct.
You know what is interesting here? Because there is a little fine line, because you have mentioned the person dies.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about until the person dies.
Right.
The payment has to be made. So you and I know if the person dies, he or she cannot make no payment. They're dead.
Right.
And after you die, you make no payment. But whoever the property, the beneficiaries that property was going to, right? The
Yes.
sons, the sisters, the children,
Right.
whatever. They are the ones will have to do the negotiation.
They're the ones that are ultimately going to be responsible for paying off that debt if they want to keep the property.
So they only have to pay that debt off if they want to keep that company.
Correct, because the house will always pay it off,
Right.
guaranteed.
So if they don't want to have anything to do with this,
Mm-hmm.
they say, Mom, Dad, you do this property transaction with Retirement Funding Solution, you sign up, you do it, we want to have nothing to do with this. Your company knows that, Retirement Funding Solution knows, children want to have nothing to do with this. It's all about the parents who own that property. They're dead, they're gone. Okay, let's say the husband dies and the wife is alive.
Mm-hmm.
How does this work? Does it work that when he dies, it has to be paid off? Or when both of them dies? What goes on here?
So that's where we look at the reverse mortgage versus the HECM, right?
You see what I'm saying?
That's where the protection
because
comes
if
into
we
place.
set up the husband and then the guy dies, now the wife has to pay this off, so she's on the street.
Right, and that's what we absolutely always want to avoid. So
Yeah.
if you have a husband and wife, they both have to have protection in place. So if the wife is living in the house and the husband passes, that loan does not come due. The loan does not come due
That's an
until
important
both
question.
of them are out of the house. As long as one of them's in the house, the loan never comes due.
And that is if the insurance policy covers both of them.
So it's a part of the contract. It's the contractual agreement from the lender. The lender is saying, okay, because you're married, we have what we call spousal protection. And the government insisted on this, right? You
Because-
have to have spousal
listen,
protection
the
because it didn't used to be there.
The
And
husband
that
dies,
happened.
what is going to happen? The lady, no, it's worse,
Exactly.
she cannot even find something.
Right, so this loan is due, you got to sell your house, you end up in the street, or you end up in a really bad financial situation. It was not good for the lenders, it was not good for the borrowers, the retirees, it was not good for the government and their insurance program. It was bad for everybody, and so they put those protections in place. So as long as you're married, the spouse has to be protected.
Can the person, does your company give an equity cash value to them? Or it's all about not paying the mortgage?
It depends on the situation. So you always have access to a certain amount of equity. But if you have a traditional mortgage or a line of credit, it has to be paid off. And so whatever equity you have access to, let's take your situation from before. I have a $350,000 home, I have a $100,000 mortgage. Well, at 70, I might have access to $175,000. $100,000 of that has to pay off the existing mortgage. That's a requirement. It has to be paid off. But now I have $75,000 of extra equity I can access. I don't have to access it. If I don't, it will always be there for me, right? So I don't have to take it. And if I don't take it, not only will it always be there, but it'll grow over time. If I do need to take it, I can take it as an income stream, or I can take it as a lump sum. I'm going to have the choice, or a combination of any of those three. So the easiest place for people to see the benefit of this is without a doubt paying off a mortgage. 60% of people carry one into retirement. This is most people, right? This is your scenario you drew out. That's what we see. But for those people who have a very small mortgage or their house is completely paid off, this gives them access to that equity in which they can do a number of things. And here in the United States, it's tax-free money. So it can be an enormous benefit for people because of that.
Right, because the question that I really wanted to get the answer for is the person has $200,000 equity. They're signing up this contract with Retirement Funding Solution. Do they get anything back from their equity?
Do they get anything back from the equity?
Could they get something from it? No. All they're benefiting from is not paying a mortgage.
No, they could certainly get more access, right? It just depends on how old you are and what your existing mortgage obligation is, if there is one. There might not be, in which case, if there's $200,000 of equity to access, that they can access, let's say they sign up for this and they get access to $200,000 of equity, that's basically creating another account with $200,000 in there for them. So think of it this way. I have one bucket, and in this bucket is my checking and my savings and my investments. And over here in this other bucket, which has a lid on it, is the equity in my house. It's the money I have in my house. We're just taking the lid off the bucket. We're taking the lid off the bucket so you can access that money. But it's there for you to access just like this bucket with your checking and your savings and your investments.
All right. If a person has $350,000 house worth value, $100,000 the person owes in his or her mortgage.
Yes.
The person goes, does a refinance on the home equity, takes out $100,000. Now, here is happening here. No, it can come back to the very same thing we're talking about. Gets $80,000 equity. Takes out from the home. The home has $200,000 equity. The person takes out $50,000 or maybe $100,000. So now a $350,000 home owes $250,000 in mortgage.
Right.
Huh?
Yes.
Do you service that kind of? Well, that's what you're really doing anyhow. It's just that you didn't know this happened before.
Yes. So in a sense, you're going to get access to a certain amount of equity, and it's just a question of what am I going to use it for? Does it make sense to use it? Do I need to use it? Or do I want to just create access to it in case I have emergencies down the road? A lot of what we talk to people about is healthcare and long-term care costs. We see so many stories of people who end up in a position where they're really concerned. In the United States here, people are more concerned about running out of money than they are about death.
Yes.
And a huge reason of that is, and I see it with my grandma and my great aunt, who respectively are 92 and 97 years old. When you have major health issues come up, it's so expensive.
Of course.
Right? So this is just a way to set yourself up to have access to an emergency cushion or a safety blanket for people, right? We're just providing access to more money for them to use potentially. It doesn't mean they have to use it though.
Right. I understand. So we have been talking for approximately 20 minutes now.
Wow.
20 and 10. Yeah. Or even more. Yeah. So we got to go on a short break. When we come back, we want to talk to you on a whole different perspective in connection with this retirement funding solution, which is a lot of people, I think, believes that they got their property and they got to pay off for the property. So they work their entire life paying off for the property, right? They die and they never benefited anything from that property except that their children take it. I don't really think that's fair. In some cultures, that's what they live for, to build a house, pay for it, die with nothing, and the children take the property. The question I have for you when we come back is, do you think that's what parents need to do? Forget about what the children gets when you die. You live happy until you die, as opposed to you living check to check until you die, and you leave a $350,000 property for your children to benefit from. They never helped you in the mortgage when you were living. They never paid anything. and you die without anything, with all the bills up to your throat, here is an opportunity that you can stop paying a mortgage, stop doing everything, and let retirement funding solutions take over the situation, what happens after the property pays for it, and everything. So when we come back, I want to talk to you about that angle, because I think that's the question that a lot of viewers would have. They confuse, what about their property after? Who gets it, where it goes? So we have been talking to Josh Blum.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I get that correct. A financial specialist, an expert on finance, and presently he is the home equity retirement specialist for retirement funding solutions. When we come back, we want to continue this conversation with him as to how people can benefit in their retirement stage from whatever they have or their property specifically, so that they can live a happy life until they die. Thank you very much for viewing. Stay tuned. We'll continue after the short break.
Fens, the single largest specialty retailer of residential and office furniture, consumer electronics, home appliances, and household items in Trinidad and Tobago. At Fens, we offer a large selection of high-quality products, honest and reliable service. We are passionate about serving you, and we're proud of the standard of excellence upheld by our knowledgeable staff, friendly delivery teams, and dedicated customer care associates. Visit Fens First, your friendly furniture, appliance, and electronic dealer since 1960.
When we educate the world, ignorant Muslims as well as non-Muslims, about Islam, the message of the Quran, the lifestyle of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then those ignorant people and those people with hate out there, we may not be able to convince everyone, but inshallah, bi'idhnillah, we will be able to convince most of them.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the believers in the mutual kindness, compassion and sympathy are just like one body. When any part of the body suffers, the whole body feels pain.
We don't wake up and spread this message of Islam and get people to understand the true message of the Quran and the true life pattern and conduct of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people will have this sort of hate against us. But the world has 1.5 billion Muslims, beautiful masjids. Muslims got everything, but yet you got a lot of haters, and you got a man shooting people on March 15th in New Zealand. These buildings and these schools did not stop that. We got to spread the message to eradicate that hate and that misunderstanding against Islam and Muslims in the world. The beautiful buildings won't do that.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Global Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. And once more, it is indeed a pleasure to have with us in Alhikmat studio Josh Blum. And he is a financial specialist, and he is the home equity retirement specialist for retirement funding solutions. And we're kind of out for time, so we're just in conclusion with the second part of this program. So, Mr. Josh, before we concluded, I was talking about, we already mentioned all the 9 yards about this retirement solutions operation. What is your suggestion on this? And I have many question marks in this. I see a lot of people live, and maybe, in the American society, a lot of people don't do this, but do you know in some of the cultural society, other countries, other places, out of America. But these are the people who come to America. So that culture is starting to build in America.
Right.
And I know you may not or understand what I'm talking about, but what I'm saying in a lot of the Muslim culture, non-American white culture, I want to use that word. I would try not to say American white culture, but non-American white culture.
Okay.
Because the American white culture is you live, your children reach 18, 17, 18, they go, they work, they get married, they start building on their own, and they're on their own, and the husband, the father and mother, they survive and whatever they do. Unfortunately, in some of the other cultures, and I say it's unfortunate, what we see is people live only to build their home for their children. So they live their whole life, struggle, don't eat 3 proper meals for the day, working, making, paying for a big house, building a big house, business, property, everything, owing, whatever, if that be the case, until they die. The children did not help a dollar, and the children benefits. And the father and mother just worked, could not enjoy that dinner with a friend as much. I mean, the kind of property that they have, they could have enjoyed a dinner every day with a friend in a restaurant or with a family member, but they never did. And that's what some cultures do. Everything is, and you ask them, everything is for their children. All this property, this house, my children gonna benefit, my children gonna benefit. But the children don't help them while they're alive. And I think that's not fair. That's not fair. So your retirement funding solution, what I'm saying here, do you see that benefiting this husband and wife or mother and father, that they just come, give you the property, sign up the whole operation, they pay no more mortgage, now that they're retired, don't worry about it, because why must they suffer and not enjoy life and pay a mortgage for a property that they're not going to live in after they die?
It's a very fair question, Sheikh. I don't think it has to be either or. If people want to leave for their kids, I think most financial professionals today would agree that life insurance, at least in the United States, is hands down the best asset to pass on to children.
So that's a good point. So they have such a life insurance that when they die, the kids get benefit from the life insurance.
Absolutely. And today in the United States, at least, within 3 years, if you pass on a house, within 3 years, your kids are going to sell it. They can't afford to pay the taxes, it's too much to maintain, they don't want to pay for the insurance on it. It gets converted to cash one way or the other, right? So what we...
Or they're going to fight over it.
Well, potentially,
and
right?
it's going to deteriorate.
And so instead of having that situation, what this really does for people is it allows them to convert their house to equity today. So they can spend today. And for some people that might mean, hey, I can provide this to my children while I'm alive. And I can have experiences and do things for them today while I'm alive and not just pass on an asset. But they might set up something like life insurance to cover what they're spending today, right? Because we're spending equity when we access equity.
I like that point. Makes a lot of sense.
We can pass on another asset that's much better for the kids, that's much more likely what they want. And I do recommend that parents have this conversation with their children. Listen, what do you want? Do you really want the house? Or if we could pass on the house or cash, what would you prefer? I think without a doubt you'd see that most people just want the cash.
Yeah, because that, the house thing is just a name.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a traditional thing. Oh, the parents have died. Who gets the house? But if the house has a mortgage on it, nobody wants the house. And the few brothers and sisters or children, they all fight about who's going to pay for it. So then they sell it and they share a few dollars.
Yeah. And wouldn't it be so nice as a parent if instead of having that situation occur, you knew you could spend the equity today and do wonderful things, like pay for the grandkids' birthday parties, to pay for family vacations, to help fund college for the grandkids, to really be there for life events while you're still living is an amazing thing to a lot of people.
Because you're saying here they can have their money that they're not paying a mortgage for, enjoy life with their kids, grandkids, rather than leave a property that the kids themselves may not even benefit from.
Absolutely. And if there was your loved one or family member, at what point would you want them to understand that there's better ways to pass on wealth? Would you want it to be while they could still do something about it? Or would you want it to be afterwards when they look backwards in hindsight and say, I wish I knew?
Yeah.
That's really the education we promote today.
And that's the problem, because a lot of parents, when they die, they don't know what happens. You know, I see so many properties just deteriorated, dilapidated. And when you ask what has happened, it's a couple brothers and sisters that own it. The parents left it in their names. So 2 brothers, 1 sister, 1 brother, 3 sisters. And they cannot make up their mind who is going to, renovate the property so it can be sold for a better price. So it gets worse, and this gets lost or sold for nothing. Flip this, the mortgage. Nobody benefited. So the parents did not benefit except by living in it, but they never benefited from the equity. They died, they paid a mortgage until they die, and the children just let it down the street.
It's an unfortunate situation.
I see that happen. Do you see this thing happening all the time?
Absolutely. And there are better ways to do it.
So what we're saying as we conclude, we just got 1 minute to conclude. Do you recommend that people call Retirement Funding Solutions, say this is my situation, this is my property, this is what I have, this is what I don't have. How could your company or Retirement Funding Solutions help me? Do you guys have a consultation scenario where people can get consultation, or should they go ahead and proceed with your company, or do they what do they do?
Absolutely. They should certainly reach out to me or to Retirement Funding Solutions.
And how do they go online? Where do they contact you? What's the line yet?
You can go online. You can visit my website, www.wellspringlending.com.
It's called?
Wellspringlending.
Wellspringlending.com.
That's correct. You can learn more about myself and some of my associates and how we work. Everything we do is consultative. And all that I mean by that is when we chat with somebody, we make sure that A, it makes sense for them, B, that they're eligible.
A lot of people cannot make a decision unless they get your advice.
Absolutely not.
And they got to know, could I do this? Could I not do this? This is what I have. This is what I don't have. Because if they have to make a decision before coming to you, then it meant that they know everything already.
Right. Which is fine. You know, we do have people who approach us who are ready to do something like this immediately. But most of the time, we're really helping people understand what the benefits and the negatives to it are, and to make sure it makes sense for them.
And before we conclude, if someone lives abroad in another country, but they got a property here in America, but they reside in another country, but they own a property here, a house, can you help them?
Not necessarily. So that's something where somebody's in that scenario, I'm happy to speak with them. It depends.
On whose name the property is on.
Right. Do they have a green card or a social security
they got to have
number?
a green card and a social security number.
So there's some circumstances there that we would need to look at, but I'm happy to talk to anybody in that position.
Because I know there are a lot of people who have properties in America. They bought houses. They probably have it. They probably come and live in it, not even rent it out. Just come and spend vacation, spend some time. The children come study. You got to understand.
Well, remember, Sheikh, it does have to be your principal residence.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of this. It can't just be somebody who's coming for a month to spend some time in the home. But also remember, a lot of other countries have this and their own type of this program. So if you live abroad and your principal residence is not in the United States, I would encourage you to look and see if you can find a similar program that your country offers today.
But bottom line, they can call you and get some
Absolutely.
advice.
And I'm happy to help
You never
them,
can tell what everybody may have a different unique scenario.
Yes.
With a different package or whatever. So it was really nice talking to you, and I think this is very beneficial. A lot of people are suffering these consequences here in not knowing how they can benefit from what they have, and especially in the retirement age. This is the time to enjoy what you have than to be paying a mortgage until you die.
Yes.
Neither did you enjoy what you have, and those whom you think you're leaving it for will not enjoy it. And we see that all the time. They who have gone don't see it. It's we who are alive see it. And that's why we need to learn from those who have passed away.
Absolutely.
And that's the lesson that death teaches. DEATH, right? It teaches us that when you're alive, you don't want to make the mistake that those who died made. So I suppose people can call us, Alhikmat Studio, Alhikmat Online, to get more information from you, about you, or if they don't remember to contact you directly, Josh Blum, would they get it on that, or?
Yeah, Josh Blum, wellspringlending.com. It certainly, if you look up Josh Blum, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on Google, I will come up, and you'll find my website.
If they Google retirement funding solutions,
Yes.
they may find many other companies, but Josh Blum is what we're looking for.
Absolutely correct.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. It has been
Sheikh,
a
thank
pleasure, and we have been very blessed to talk with Mr. Josh Blum, the financial specialist, the home equity retirement specialist, and all the 9 yards pertaining to retirement funding solutions. This is a whole long list of things. The easiest way to cut a long story short, give him a call, give Wellspring Lending a call, and talk to them what you have, what you don't have, and how you can go about benefiting from this retirement funding solutions. Thank you very much for tuning in to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online, and always keep tuned to Alhikmat. Again, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Josh.
Sheikh.
With over 20 years of traveling experience, Alhikmat Services is offering exclusive 2019 tours for India and Dubai on October 13th through October 23rd, visiting holy sites, Taj Mahal, and many other historical sites. These groups will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawah Services at 1-800-804-0267 or at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Caroni Savannah Road, Charlieville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com. Now open Sajida exclusive for all of your Islamic and casual wear. We carry a large selection of silk route and al-karam gowns, scarves, hijabs, hijab pins, and many other accessories. We have exclusive Swarovski gold-filled and sterling silver jewelry. We are located in store 143, Caroni Savannah Road, Charlieville, Chaguanas, located on the opposite side of TNT Chicken Hut. For more info, you can call 328-6682 or 295-5400.
Fens, the single largest specialty retailer of residential and office furniture, consumer electronics, home appliances, and household items in Trinidad and Tobago. At Fens, we offer a large selection of high-quality products, honest and reliable service. We are passionate about serving you, and we're proud of the standard of excellence upheld by our knowledgeable staff, friendly delivery teams, and dedicated customer care associates. Visit Fens First, your friendly furniture, appliance, and electronic dealer since 1960.
Alhikmat Dawah Services now offering a special Dubai and Umrah package in December 2019. A 10-day trip from December 9th to December 19th, 2019. Average cost is $3,000. The group will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawah Services at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
الله الله